Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and welcome back to another one of my reaction videos. And today I'm going to be reacting to the new episode of Death Battle, which just came out. It's the first episode of Season 10. I am so excited. We have Ant-Man from Marvel versus the Atom from DC. This is a Marvel versus DC fight that so many of us have been waiting for so long. It really feels overdue, and I'm so happy that Death Battle is actually getting to it now, and we can see what they think of it. You know, I think it has a lot of potential to be a lot of fun. That's up for us to decide after we see the episode, but still, you know, I'm really excited. I have faith in it. In terms of who I'm rooting for, who I want to see win, I'm more familiar with Ant-Man in general. I've just known him longer. I'm not in support of a lot of the things that Hank Pym has done, but I do really admire that Ant-Man legacy and a lot of the characters who have been Ant-Man and the Wasp and, you know, people from that family. So I think I'm rooting for Ant-Man. I do like Ray Palmer as well, you know, Adam, but I just don't have as much of a connection with him. In terms of who I think is going to win, I have a very complicated relationship with this matchup, and if you've seen my prediction video on this, you'll understand what I mean. But, you know, I think a lot of it is going to depend on what they include for the characters. I kind of made like a conditional prediction, so I actually want to wait to see what they include, and then I'll talk about who I think is going to win, and also like factor in all the other information they said about this fight and the characters, etc., etc. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get on into this.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp and Mint Mobile.
Also, another thing, I'm using a new recording method, which I'm hoping will make everything look better, but it means I can't fast forward, so we're gonna have to sit through the commercials.
Ant-Man, Marvel's founding member of the Avengers.
Hell yeah.
The Atom, DC's legendary Mighty Might.
Good things come in small packages.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
We're just trying to
Is
get
that
these out of the
Ants
way.
or the Ant
He's
Bully?
Wiz
There's so many
My
Ant
Boomstick.
movies.
And it's our job
Definitely
to
not a
analyze
Bug's
their weapons,
Life.
armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be good. I'm excited.
Did you know that ants can lift 50 times their own body weight? That'd be like if you lifted a car straight over your head.
I've done
I
that.
did, thanks to my fun fact of the day calendar. Also, Hawaiian pizza was invented in Canada yesterday.
Well,
I think I knew that too. Yeah, I'm Canadian, by the way.
Pym, aka Hank, was considered a genius at a very early age. By 3 years old, doctors declared that he was smarter than both his parents combined.
That's
He
impressive.
eventually majored in biochemistry.
I was
and
not that
became one of the
smart.
most successful
Still am not.
scientists in his field. He had big ideas about shrinking the size of cargo to reduce shipping costs.
And look at all those
Logistics.
aliases too.
All of
Like
which
that's
made
insane.
him a laughing stock in the scientific community and sparked a long-lasting insecurity and need to prove himself.
But he
Yeah.
did it. He developed a working serum.
He developed some
He
other
went from
things,
laughing
too.
Stock to Christmas stocking, the much better stuck, right behind Bean and Live.
So,
Ah.
naturally, he tested the serum on himself, like any self-respecting scientist would,
Mm-hmm.
and shrank down to the size of an ant.
And just when things started going south, a sweet little ant, let's call her Aunt Hathaway, swooped
Okay.
in and led Hank safely back to his lab where he could return to full size.
Hank then
And that's where it
harnessed the
all
serum and
began.
became the superhero.
He loves ants now.
Ant-Man. Along with his new identity came a fascination in entomology, which makes total sense. Ants are fascinating.
Did you know that ants can talk to each
So
other
many
in a
ant
bunch of different
facts.
ways, through touch, sound, or even sharing information by barfing at each other?
It's actually called trophallaxis, and they're not barfing per se. It's more like passing
But it's
food
similar.
mouth to mouth.
Gross!
Yeah,
Hank
that's not
figured out
better,
how to
Wiz.
communicate with his new pets, not by barfing, but by creating a cybernetic helmet. that
Much
mirrors
better.
An ant's antenna. And he's even developed genuine relationships with some ants, like Ulysses S. Ant here.
But he didn't stop
Hmm. What
there.
about Anthony?
He developed a lot of amazing tech like a stinger pistol that focuses his bioenergy into a stun beam.
Got a lot in his
and
arsenal.
image-inducing camouflage to mask himself as an ant. It worked so well it fooled Reed Richards, the smartest guy on the planet.
Right.
He
That's
also
that's
built a suit
impressive.
that runs on that nifty serum he made back in his lab. It lets him shrink thanks to the newly discovered Pym particles, named after himself.
Yeah.
Ah, classic Hank.
And the Pym
Yeah.
particle is the key to unlocking the fundamental constants of the quantum mechanics at play here.
Right.
They enable you to decrease the distance between atoms. However, in order to do that, he'd have to change the Bohr radius, the ratio of electron mass to the distance the electrons orbit an atom's nucleus.
I knew they were gonna go into
Of
this a lot.
course.
Yeah.
Like how when you make a bagel pizza, you can't fit the whole pizza on the bagel. Believe me, I've tried. It's too small. You just gotta put less on.
Yeah.
Sure, Boomstick. So the Pym particles are actually dispersed displacing mass to an alternate dimension in order to maintain that ratio.
Oh, it's like having a second bagel to put the rest of your pizza on. I get it.
I love
But
this
if that were
analogy.
true, he shouldn't be able to punch with full-size strength if he has less mass.
And he's definitely lighter, because otherwise he'd crush the sweet antsy
Right.
rides like Vincent Van Gogh here.
His mass is being replaced with massless neutrinos, but that doesn't adequately explain how he can have less mass and seemingly more mass at the same time.
Right,
Sure
yeah.
it
Well, it's
does,
comics.
man.
You just have to make it
Him and his
work.
particles. Look at the guy. He's explaining the whole thing while wearing a lab coat. What's more trustworthy than that?
I mean, Wiz also wears a
You're the
lab coat.
exception.
You think you understand this?
Oh, of course. He's small but strong. You said something about a boar, so
That
I guess
SNL
you wanted
skit,
ham
yeah.
on that pizza, but I already made the pizza.
Will you take that coat off?
No.
Regardless, there is virtually no
Wiz and
limit
Boomstick
to
back
Hank's
at it
ability to
again.
Shrink. He can go beyond subatomic down to the underspace, a plane of existence below all realities in the Marvel universe.
Right.
And Hank has literally changed his biology. He's rewritten his own chemical makeup to prevent anyone else from changing his size. And he's
Interesting.
used Pym particles so much, he's now got an energy field around him that lets him change the size of people or objects on the fly, through touch or by straight up firing Pym particles in the air.
He's never shy about using.
How is that
them
gonna work
either.
against
He eventually
Adam, though,
supplied
you know,
his
but that's
wife,
still
Janet
handy.
Van Dyne, with some Pym tech to become the Wasp, his partner in crime fighting.
Right.
The two
Another
ended
founding
up
member.
rubbing shoulders with A-listers like Thor, Iron Man, and the Hulk to take down Loki.
The other founding
And
members,
the
yeah,
Wasps
there you
were
go.
Actually, the ones that captured him and pitched the idea of forming the Avengers.
There you go.
Unfortunately, Hank's insecurities started to creep back in, and he
Yup,
felt that if he
here we
wanted
go.
to keep up with the big heroes, he was going to have to think bigger.
Enter a bunch of those Pym-powered alter egos like Yellow Jacket and Giant Man.
Yellow Jacket
where he
was
could
originally a
grow
villain,
anywhere
right?
from 12
Kinda.
feet tall to so big
Like
he
he
could
was a
enter
villain
the
as Yellow Jacket?
overspace, the polar opposite of the underspace.
Yes.
There he met Eternity, who called him Earth's Scientist Supreme. Something he won't let you forget.
Right.
He pushed himself to these insane heights, even though he knew the strain on his body could be fatal.
But he simply didn't care and kept pushing himself. Thus, his greatest and worst creation was born.
There we go. Yep.
Yep, all the Tin Man Tron was
So he didn't create
created
it in
by
that
Hank,
movie,
not
but
Tony
yeah.
like the movies. But the mass murder butt thing turned out pretty much the same.
Right.
Big swing and a miss there.
The fallout from Ultron left Hank in a bad place, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
His guilt made him feel like an utter failure, and that his best work was behind him. This led Hank to do unspeakable things.
Yep.
A real low-life move. And even though poor mental health doesn't excuse this behavior, it was clear that Hank needed help.
Yeah.
He suffered
Either
multiple
way you
mental
slice it,
breakdowns,
yeah.
endured the physical toll of the Pym particles, and had bipolar disorder that went undiagnosed for years.
So Hank finally did the best thing he could. He acknowledged his problems, got the help he needed, and committed to self-improvement.
See, at least
And
he
with
did that,
help,
you know?
Hank slowly started making things right. He rebuilt the West Coast Avengers, gave Scott Lang his blessing to become the second Ant-Man,
Hell yeah.
and finally defeated Ultron.
He created a backdoor Trojan infiltration code to defeat Ultron that was so advanced, it went on to replicate and evolve all on its own to create
Wow.
a new species made up
So, like,
of artificial
another
intelligence.
AI.
They don't call him the god of modern AI for nothing.
There you
He
go.
just showed over and over again that he's an integral part of the Marvel Universe.
Not just by ways of his scientific contributions or victories in battle, but by proving that heroes come in all shapes and sizes.
Yep. Okay, so that was Hank.
This episode is sponsored by
And now we have the
It
ad.
can be
Yeah,
easy
so
to
again, I
spend all
can't
your
fast
time on
forward
your
through
work,
it,
your friends,
unfortunately,
your family. But
just
how
based
much
on the new
time do you
recording method, but I'm
actually
really
spend on
hoping
yourself?
that
Therapy
this will
can be
work
an
out and
incredible
that, you know, it
asset to your
sounds
mental
better
health,
and
even if you
looks
don't think
better.
You need it right at this moment.
It might not, though. We'll have to see about that. But yeah, of course, you know, obviously, link in the description to the original video. Go check, you know, out all the sponsors if you want. And of course, you can just skip through the sponsorships through this video if you really want to. So yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, Hank sounds really impressive. Definitely some stuff I didn't know exactly, but there was also, you know, obviously the general stuff. I was kind of expecting some more physics-breaking feats for him, not gonna lie. But I guess that they really wanted to show off his intelligence. Because, yeah, he's incredibly smart. I think he's like the 5th smartest person on the planet through some measurement. Of course, you know, that could be flawed, but, you know, whatever. But it's like how Reed is the 1st and, like, Amadeus Cho is the 7th or something. Like, that kind of stuff. Okay, just wanted to kill the time. Now,
Ray
Adam.
Palmer was born your average human-sized person. He grew up in the Northeast, studied physics at Ivy University, and did everything Mama and Papa Palmer told him to do. Probably.
Everything was pretty typical for Ray until one fateful night when he took a walk to take his mind off.
Interesting walk. Interesting animation there.
Meteor fall from the sky.
He ran off to the crash and found himself
The
a
editing for all these
life-changing
comic
piece of a
panels
white
is still
dwarf
like
star,
top notch.
and immediately started messing around with it.
Right.
Who wouldn't?
He discovered that he could focus ultraviolet rays through it and shrink inanimate objects. There was just one problem. When he shrunk things, they exploded.
That's not
Every
good.
time.
I do.
'Cause
not
what if you
see
wanna
the
use that on
problem.
yourself?
Sounds like he found a foolproof way of blowing stuff up. Case closed.
Ray was determined to figure out how to shrink objects without blowing them up. But first,
I love the dedication.
He went on a hike with his nature club. And as a fellow scientist, I have to question his priorities.
But hey, it seems.
Come on, he's got
to work for him.
multiple things
I
going
support
on.
it. Different hikes for different mics. Am I right?
Rooster
While in a
teeth.
cave, the ceiling suddenly collapsed, trapping everyone inside. After searching high and low for another exit, Ray found a small opening and had an idea.
Okay.
He could try to shrink himself down and get help, even if it meant he might explode before he got the
Right.
chance.
But
As a
he
hero
didn't
would do.
explode. I hope this story has a happy ending at least.
Yeah.
Perplexed,
Well, a
Ray
happy
determined
beginning,
there must
right?
have been something special about
Adam in
him that
general?
made him uniquely immune to the explosive fate. Something super scientifically convenient that we never get any more information on.
Mm-hmm.
So he got to work and created himself a suit to harness the power of the white dwarf star and became the Atom.
Adam uses the white dwarf
That's a
fragment
lot
to
of
decrease his
powers,
size while
like,
having
specifically.
control over his density, which makes a lot of sense.
I could
considering
not
white
read
dwarfs
any
have
of
the
them.
mass of a star, like the sun, but their volume is more like the Earth's, making them among the densest
Exactly,
objects
yeah.
in space.
Just a teaspoon
Manipulating
of
your
the
own
stuff
density
could
is
weigh
insane.
Up to 100 tons. That's one strong spoon.
When
Just
Adam
a spoon.
shrinks and shifts his weight, he's actually sending his extra mass to a dimension called the mass.
There we go. More
Where,
dimensional
Adam
transferring.
could
Yeah.
maybe live forever. At one
Oh.
point, Ray's apprentice Ryan Choi was murdered by Deathstroke, but willed some of his mass to the mass zone and was able to survive in that dimension. So these guys
Interesting.
can potentially cheat death, but would
Did
be
he come
stuck
right
there
back?
without any outside help.
Could he?
But from one scientist to another, what's most impressive is Ray's creation of the Bio Belt. That's what allows Adam to use the power of the white dwarf and shrink while maintaining any weight, from immaterial to his full 180 pounds.
Right.
There's even been times where it's stated that he was able to become almost as dense as a white dwarf star itself for a few seconds.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah. He's done
also
that
how
for
he can
sure.
Travel through phone lines or through the air on currents.
How do you
or
travel through
lightning.
phone
Over
lines,
time,
you know?
Ray has spread out the white dwarf power to other parts of his suit, and now the bio belt acts as a utility belt for his shrunken weapons and tech.
Mm-hmm.
It also prevents his size or mass from being altered by any outside forces.
And while he can
There we
only
go.
increase his size
So he
back
can
to
resist that
natural 6
too.
feet in height, his ability to shrink is near limitless. He can travel between subatomic space to the microverse, the foundation of all reality in the DC universe,
Yep.
where atoms become
They just do the
size
same
of
stuff,
planets.
you know?
Typically, he can increase back to his normal size with such force he can smash through diamonds.
Damn.
So if Adam increases his size too much while still within the microverse, he could blow up the entire fabric of reality from the inside
Jesus,
out.
these
Shrinking down to
characters,
that
man,
size
like,
means that he can shrink
my
small
God.
enough to rearrange atoms themselves.
Yep, Ray can take individual molecules and rapidly expand them to cook up a small nuclear blast
Yeah.
in the palm of his hand.
That's pretty crazy. I like that though.
Ray Palmer. I just got that.
He also once disarmed a bomb by rearranging its atoms. At that size, he can move at the velocity of light. So fast and so randomly, he basically acted as a barrier between any and all
Right.
possible atom combinations. But come on, there's no scientific explanation here for him to have superhuman senses or awareness
Is
to
there?
comprehend being everywhere at the same time.
Ah, it makes total sense. If you're small enough, you
I'm
can
listening
fit
to
in almost
Boomstick. He has the lab
everything
coat.
everywhere, all at once. Like how you can fit an entire pizza into a calzone, and then you have a whole pizza everywhere inside the calzone.
This pizza
Man,
stuff,
yeah.
man.
Science is pizza.
It's working for me.
No! Science is all I have! Why are you doing this to me?
On top of all of
Come on,
Ray's
give
amazing
Wiz a break.
inventions and abilities, he's also got some more classic weapons, like a laser blaster and a freaking sword he used to fight a giant crocodile.
Yeah.
Relic
You got some
to
really
his
good
side.
fighting
That
experience
was when
with
Ray
that,
was
yeah.
believed to be dead, but was actually just stuck at 6 inches tall and stranded in the Amazon rainforest, where he encountered an alien race known as the Catarthans.
And get this, he ended up leading a rebellion against their tyrant king and became the ruler of all the Kardashians.
And his heroism
Good
didn't
for him.
stop there. The Atom was a very well-respected hero, and was even asked to join the Justice League of America shortly after it was formed.
To be fair,
He fought
everyone has
alongside
joined the
Batman
Justice League
and
at
his
some
best
point.
bud, Hawkman. And you don't fight with those guys without picking up a thing or two.
No, you do not.
Impressive combat skills aside, Adam's greatest contribution to the legendary team was always his incredible mind.
He once created kryptonite inside of Superman
Yeah.
by realizing that if he gathered up enough Kryptonian protons, they would eventually become radioactive.
While stranded in limbo, Adam realized that if the Flash sped up the rate of a nuclear reaction's stellar evolution to exhaust its core, they could turn a fire demon into a black hole and use it as a wormhole to get back to Earth.
Wow.
He's a brilliant, hard-working, and determined
You
scientist
don't just
that
come
never
up with
stops
that.
working on a problem until he's found a solution. I mean,
Yeah, Hank
if I
might be
figured out how to
smarter,
blow
but
stuff
Ray's
up
no
as well as he
slouch.
did, I would have stopped right there. I'm the hero that blows stuff up. Wouldn't even need to change my name.
Ray Palmer lived the dream, going from research scientist to legendary superhero. He picked up the pieces presented to him and built something greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
Who knew this tiny
He's technically
tyke
not the
with
first
massive
Adam
brains
also,
would have just as much
but
brawn to
he's one of the
back it up.
coolest. Okay, so that was Adam.
This episode
And now we have
of Death
another
Battle is sponsored by
ad.
Mint Mobile.
So yeah,
It's
again,
no
you know,
surprise.
they went
Inflation is
into
everywhere.
more
There's no escaping it.
physics-breaking
And if you're looking
feats
for
for
a break,
him,
look no
in my
further than
opinion, than
Mint
they did
Mobile.
for Ant-Man. Like,
It's
they
the
still
first company
did
to sell a
some,
premium wireless
they
service
still went over some
online
really
only.
incredible
You can
things
save a
for
ton and order from
Ant-Man,
home
but
with plans starting at
I
just
guess what I was
$15 a
expecting
month.
more like what they did for
That kind of
Adam.
low price is exactly what we all
And now that
need
I
in a
know
time when
more or less
everything's
what they're
just getting
including
more
for
and
these
more
characters,
expensive.
I'm gonna have
It
to
isn't sorcery.
to
By going
reestablish
online
some
only,
things that I've
getting
said in
rid
my
of the
prediction.
traditional cost of retail, Mint Mobile
And then I'll
can
give my
pass
thoughts
those
on
savings
this
onto
fight
you.
as well.
All plans
Like based
come
on
with
everything else that
unlimited
they've
talk
said.
and text plus high-speed data delivered
And
on
yeah,
the
again, you know,
nation's
this
largest
video might
5G
turn out better
network.
quality, it might not.
Better yet, you
Hopefully
can
it
keep
does,
your
and if it
current
does,
phone
let me
number
know
in contact,
if you
so
like it
switching
like
over
this.
is no big deal.
But
Get your
it
new
might
wireless
very
plan
well
for
just be the same.
$15 a
Hopefully
month
not though.
and get the plan
Depends
shipped to
on
your
how
door
well
for
I can
free.
edit it and
Go
all
to
that.
mintmobile.com/deathbattle.
But yeah, we'll see. I think is that the end of the ad? Almost.
mintmobile.com/deathbattle.
I think we're there. Yeah. Okay.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
Nice.
It's time for a death battle.
Time for a death battle. And pause the video. Okay, so talking about this fight, so basically the stance that I had in my prediction video was that if they include literally everything that the Pym particles are capable of, then I thought that Ant-Man would win, because it seems, and when I say everything, by the way, I should specify this. There are 3 different axes to the Pym particles that they kind of showed a comic panel of very briefly, where you have the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis, or z-axis, sorry, Americans. And basically the way that it works is you can not only increase or decrease your size, but you can also increase or decrease your durability and physical strength, which other characters such as Vision and Wonder Man have used to manipulate their powers. Hank, though, to my knowledge, especially since he wasn't really involved in that discovery of those abilities, and it was kind of implied that the Langs, like Scott Lang and Cassie Lang, can use the Pym particles in ways that, like, no one else can, supposedly. Like, I'm not sure if that's really fair to attribute to Hank, especially since he more so discovered the Pym particles. He didn't, like, create every single thing about them, to my knowledge. So I was unsure in my prediction video whether or not they were going to be including that stuff, and I'm honestly still a little unsure because they brought up the comic panel, but they didn't talk about those other abilities. They just talked about size changing, some of the physics breaking stuff, and like his arsenal and intelligence, you know, which is still really impressive. But basically the way I saw it is that if they were going to include that extra stuff for Hank, then I thought that Hank would probably win because I thought it would serve as a hard counter for Adam's density manipulation, and then he also just has more on top of that, like his versatility, his intelligence. Like, I still think he's a little smarter than Ray, even though Ray is incredibly intelligent. And he might even have a little more experience just because of all the aliases he's taken under. It would still be close, though. But generally speaking, I thought that those powers would give him a hard counter for Adam's powers, and then he has other stuff on top of it that Adam does not have to the same degree. However, if they weren't going to be including that stuff, then I thought that Adam would win, because I thought that his density manipulation and all that stuff he can do, I thought that that would just kind of prove to be too much for Ant-Man's regular size changing abilities. Like, it's just like he can distribute the mass into like one part of his body, you know, like just his fist, and hit with so much force. So it's a little hard to say because they didn't really talk about those powers specifically, but they did bring up the comic panel. So I'm not 100% sure. Again, though, like I said, I thought maybe I'm missing something, but I thought they brought up more physics-breaking feats for Adam, but Ant-Man still has them. So I'm wondering if maybe they're going to save that for, like, the end of the video, talking about, like, you know, oh yeah, Adam's done this, but Ant-Man has done stuff just as good, if not better, and therefore, you know, he wins or whatever. The reason why I'm not talking so much about physics-breaking feats in, like, my analysis of this fight is because it really feels like they've both done so much to the point where you can't really judge it based on one single feat and saying, like, oh yeah, that feat is better than anything else the other character has done. Maybe Death Battle will look at it that way, though, you know, when we get to the end, but, you know, I was kind of more so trying to focus on how their powers worked. So I'm still not 100% sure. It seems like they can both, you know, resist other people trying to shrink them, which is good. And they both, you know, can go so small. Only Ant-Man can grow, but I'm not really sure if that's going to help him that much. They're going to need to be on at least an even playing field in order to, like, do damage to each other, especially since Adam can avoid people very easily for people who are normal size, let alone, like, super giant. So I'm not really sure how much that's going to help Hank. But you know, again, you know, they both have such crazy physics-breaking feats. Apparently Adam can come back to life, but I didn't catch whether or not, you know, it was, like, immediate, like he could continue the fight immediately. But I still want to say, you know, Hank has more versatility. He can, you know, beckon ants, and he has, like, a lot more weaponry than Ray. But if they're not including that other Pym particle stuff, I feel like Adam's powers are just better, like they're just superior. So, I don't know. Part of me wants to say Adam. I know if you asked me this like a number of years ago, I would have said Adam for sure, but like Hank is still really impressive and has a lot of stuff that Adam doesn't. So I think it's really going to depend on how they analyze Hank's powers and whether or not they think it could keep up with Ray's powers. So I'm just going to enjoy the fight. I'm just going to sit back, enjoy the fight, and see what they have to say. So let's go. I'm really excited to see how this all looks.
You should pick on someone.
Kind of looks like his Earth's Mightiest Heroes design, actually. And he knew he was right there.
It's laced with a particle I've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
They're called Pym particles, and I'm Hank Pym.
He's always wearing the suit.
You should have knocked.
All right, well, I guess just scientist arrogance at it again. Ooh, yeah, that's gonna hurt. Good. I mean, you kind of have the home field advantage, right, Hank?
You're using pieces of a white dwarf star? That's cute.
Everything we needed already existed. You just needed to be smart enough to put the pieces together.
Right.
Scientist
It's just
Supreme.
discoveries, right? More of the Scientist Supreme stuff. Yes, exactly. We needed stuff like that. We're just quiet from our perspective.
That at any given moment, there are about 2.5 million ants under your feet.
I mean, that makes sense, but why are you bringing that up right now?
Well, yeah, because he has ants. More ant facts. I love it. There we go, the sword. That's gonna cut some ants down to size. Oh boy. Yep, there we go. Nope, you can resist it.
Okay, let's try this.
Oh, well, yeah, no, that can't resist that.
I'll hack his belt. You lay low and let me know what you find.
Does that say Anthony?
Nice try.
That was nice. Well, if Hank Pym can hack through the belt, that might not be good. Yeah, Hank, like, where's your arsenal? Where's your tech? There you go.
Every electron path in his gun and study their probability wave functions. I just might be able to.
Oh crap, we're going really small. The microverse, thank you. It's like the Civil War title font. Oh, yeah, density. Well, Hank can grow bigger, but I don't think we're out of the microverse yet, so it doesn't matter.
What's happening?
Oh.
He must be reaching his limit. If we don't get out of here quick, he's gonna destroy all of reality. Now, my pets!
I love how they're still playing the hero, even in a fight to the death.
But I created something beyond the limits of human existence. I operate on a scale you can't even comprehend.
Oh boy. Oh crap, he took him to overspace. Hey, Eternity.
You can't be
Giant man
afraid
suit.
to think big.
Oh god, oh no, that's... Oh shoot, I think that's it. I don't... Unless... No, yeah, that is it, okay. I was gonna say unless he came back, but
many
yeah.
answers to each other's abilities and arsenals. Both were able to store various weapons at a shrunken state, both were trained in judo, and they both could obviously keep up with each other's ability to shrink
Exactly.
at will.
Though there was one small thing Adam couldn't answer to. The ants! Hank's bond with his pets lent him some small advantages, and Ray just didn't have enough anti-ant tools in his bio belt.
But in Adam's defense, the fact that he could punch with a fist packed with all of his mass meant that a close-up fight, while small, would leave Hank with few
Exactly,
options
that's
since
what
he
I was
could only punch
thinking,
with his
yeah.
normal human strength.
Even still, all Ant-Man would need to do is keep his dissed ants with the help of his insect confidants and devise another plan of ant-tack.
Thank
Something
you,
Hank has no
Boomstick.
shortage
Thank
of.
you so
For
much.
instance, Ant-Man could alter Adam's size thanks to the Pym particle field he generates. Hank would just need to stall long enough to remove or disable Adam's bio belt, and he's had no trouble hacking enemy tech.
Okay,
But
that makes
even when
sense.
the bio belt busted, it wouldn't stop Adam's ability to shrink, since the white dwarf power is contained throughout his suit. Destroying the belt only meant that Ant-Man could alter Adam's size.
Right.
Whereas Hank has literally rewritten his own biology to prevent outside
Yep.
size alteration. And while Adam's abilities are definitely impressive, they are limited, and Ant-Man simply aren't, at least by comparison. Hank could always match Ray's size or just take the fight to the overspace where he would have
I didn't
the
really
edge,
think
both
about that. He
physically
could
and
take him to
mentally.
The
overspace, but
overspace can
yeah.
mess with the human mind, but we've seen that Hank can handle it.
But if the Scientist Supreme is really so smart, why didn't he just immediately go up Adam's butt and blow him up from the inside?
What's
they had to
wrong
put
with
that
you,
reference
Riz?
in somewhere.
Aren't you a fellow man of science?
This is the meanest thing you've ever done.
Adam sized up Ant-Man, but in the end,
Jeez, that is
he
one
was the
way to
one
go.
who
Oh,
had to
man.
say, Uncle.
The winner is Ant-Man.
Okay, good job, Ant-Man. I was rooting for you.
Thanks for
That was
watching.
Ant-Man
Stay
versus
tuned.
Adam.
We have a new
Okay,
Death
next
Battle
time,
releasing every 2 weeks this year.
We have a
And
few
click the
battles
button
that
to
have
get
been
new perks
revealed
and
so
extra
far.
content.
I think
Planet
this
level
might
members
be
can see Death
Dragonborn
Battles
versus
before
Chosen
anyone
Undead,
else,
unless
so
it's
don't
something
miss
we've
out.
never heard of before. Oh, that looks, yep, that's Chosen Undead and Dragonborn. There we go. Yeah. So, bit of a longer trailer this time, actually. Oh, it says Dark Souls versus Skyrim, Chosen Undead versus Dragonborn. Okay, there you go. So yeah, those are the franchises that they're from. I guess they're doing like a Pokemon versus Digimon kind of titling. Yeah, so for those of you guys that don't know, this fight was announced at MagFest, which happened like a few months back. And I had a feeling this was going to be the next episode because typically whenever Death Battle like announces a fight, they want to get that stuff out earlier rather than later. Of course, they've already announced Bill Cipher versus Discord and Alex versus Cole because those were chosen for the champion poll. But, you know, those are going to come out much later. They need time to work on those. So there was a chance it could have been something, you know, that we've never even heard of before, like that we didn't know was coming at all. But there we go. Yeah. We got Dark Souls versus Skyrim, Chosen Undead versus Dragonborn. So I'm excited for that. You know, I'll make a prediction. It's probably going to be out before this video comes out, so just check my channel, you know. Hopefully it'll be there. But yeah, in terms of that fight, I'm excited. You know, it's a little different than what Death Battle normally does. There's obviously a lot of different interesting ways you can take it. So yeah, we'll have to see how that all looks. But yeah, that's coming in 2 weeks. Death Battle is back. You know, they're not going to be taking a break. I'm excited. But talking about this fight, so yeah, I definitely underestimated just how much control Hank had over the fight. I'm glad I was able to put some stuff together. But you know, obviously, you know, even it looks like they didn't even really need to talk about the extra axes like I was talking about, like the stuff that Vision and Wonder Man uses. They didn't even need to go into that. That wasn't part of their reasoning at all. I think really my biggest problem was that I focused too much on Adam's density manipulation, and I just kind of thought that, you know, that makes it so that he can just be stronger than Hank whenever he wants to be. And while I think there might still be some truth to that, I think the fact that, you know, Hank just has so many feats that are so comparable to Adam really means that like that fine print maybe might not mean as much, because they can both do similar things regardless. But I do like how they brought up that, just him being able to pack all of his mass into his fist, Adam, means that up close, it really does look good for him. But in terms of, just taking Adam to overspace and, putting an ant up his body, like, Jesus Christ. The hand-drawn animation, too, really just emphasized that. But yeah, no, at first I was like, wait, is he just going to immediately come back? Because there was that whole, like, resurrection stuff, but clearly no. Because they usually like to treat a death as a death unless someone can immediately keep coming back to the fight. And we're going to actually see that in Chosen Undead versus Dragonborn, weirdly enough. But yeah, so that's kind of how they looked at it, and I can totally understand. Ant-Man is an incredibly strong character. Adam is as well. They've both done ridiculous things. But yeah, ultimately, I guess, yeah, Ant-Man's just his intelligence, his ability to hack, have more control over the fight, I think really gave it to him. And that's definitely something I underestimated. So, good job, Hank. I still don't like all the things that you have done, but I know, to trust the Scientist Supreme and his method. So that's kind of from the reasoning side of things. I thought this fight was, or I thought the episode was pretty funny in general. They kept going back to the whole pizza thing, which, yeah, it did get a little repetitive, but, I still found it funny enough. And Wiz kind of like breaking down over the science stuff, like Boomstick's disrespect to science or whatever. I thought that was funny. And the animation itself, I could have seen them going a little further, like maybe, well, I don't want to say they could have spent more time in overspace, because I think at that point like Ray couldn't really do anything, so maybe not that, but I don't know, maybe like some more like dimensional shifting. But they still did quite a bit of that. Like I don't want to discredit that at all. I think in general, like, yeah, they went with all of like the size changing gimmicks that I wanted them to, at least to some degree. So while, yeah, I could have seen them going further, I think they did a pretty bang up job with this one, to be honest. Like I enjoyed it pretty thoroughly. Again, the characters' gimmicks are really fun, and I think they utilized them well in the animation and in the analysis writing. So yeah, no, I'm pretty satisfied with this. I don't know how it's going to compare to the rest of season 10, and I'm probably going to have to take some time to think about it and like reflect on this fight before I like give like an official ranking of the whole season or anything, if I decide to do that. But yeah, no, I still enjoyed this episode. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? Who do you think should have won? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you could too. That'd be so great. That would really help the channel out. But no matter what you guys do, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, that's it for me. I will see all of you guys in the next video. Peace out.